securing of heavy equipment onto a lowboy trailer is an important process that should not be taken lightly. Whether you're an experienced operator or new to hauling equipment, remember that you are responsible for securing your load in accordance with the commercial vehicle regulations. Please remember that safety is just as important as getting into your car, so buckle up before you load your piece of equipment onto the trailer. Few things to keep in mind are the load rating of the trailer, the weight of the equipment you are moving, and the load ratings of the chains, straps, and binders that you'll be using. All this information can be found on the equipment, in their manuals, or on their identification sheets. Please remember that each piece of equipment that you haul will have its own securement specifications. Know what these are and always meet the minimum requirements.
There's general requirements such as just tying down anything normal. And then there's commodity specific, which is 393-130 for heavy equipment that is over 10,000 pounds. So what happens is you need a minimum of 4 tie downs for a track vehicle such as a bulldozer, or 5 tie downs with an excavator. It would be a track vehicle. You have to have 4 tie downs for the vehicle, but then for the appendage, you would need an additional tie down when you lower that to the deck.
First thing you do when you get to a job site, you want to make sure your truck and trailer is on flat, level ground. Make sure your deck is clean as possible, and make sure you have all your chains and tie down gear ready to go. Make sure your chains are semi-straight. You don't want them all twisted up. And then you want a decent pull that you're pulling forward. And then with your ratchet binders, you want to make sure you're screwed out all the way to start with, so you always end up with enough threads to get a proper pull. And it's also important to get as much slack out in the beginning prior to tightening, so you don't run out of threads. And these turnbuckle style chains like to turn, so I'll either grab an old binder bar or grab another portable winch, put that in like such, and then that'll keep this turnbuckle from turning. Now I'm just going to repeat what I did up front to the back here as far as tightening down.
There are 2 common types of binders that can be used when securing your load, a lever binder or a ratchet binder. Both are frequently used in tie downs, but a lever binder can be a potential hazard if not properly used. Ratchet binders have the advantage of having a greater mechanical advantage over the lever style. Ratchet style chain binders are much safer. Remember to always secure the handle in a fixed position to prevent accidental release during the transport.
So I'm chaining down this backhoe, a couple more chains to go. Some pointers on it. You always want to make sure implements are grounded. You want to chain to the body of the machine. In this case, the manufacturer has tie down points, so we'll go ahead and use those. Another thing is my angle of the chain. I have the front going out this way, the one on the back is going out the other way, so I have opposing forces pulling against the machine. One more chain to put on my grounded implement. Another reason for grounding your implements is it helps take some of the bounce out of the tires, solid down. Since this machine does have tires, they tend to want to bounce or loosen your chains up during travel, so it's a good idea to check periodically and make sure you're still tight.
We're looking at a properly loaded excavator that meets the minimum requirements required for what's called heavy machinery. Heavy machinery is defined by greater than 10,000 pounds. Then if you look further into the chapter, it requires a track vehicle to be minimally tied down 4 times. So we have two here in the back, and we have 2 more in the front. Now this piece of machinery has an appendage, and that appendage is required to be lowered to the deck and secure independently. So besides being the track vehicle, you're required to have the 4 tie downs and then the appendage lowered to the deck and tied down independently. When we're looking for safety factors, we're looking at the chain and the binder. The chain, we're looking at the size of the chain and the working load limits of the chain. If the chain is not properly marked like it's supposed to be with a tag, we go to the minimum standards in the book. So this is a 3/8 inch chain, and we would look at what's required for this type of grade and proof of chain, and then we would do the math for that. And then we would also look at the binder, and the binder is marked, and we would do the math for that, and we would meet the minimum standard. So if your binder is less than the working load limit of your chain, we would then take that into factor and use the lowest of the two. So then when you tie it down from one point, you use a proper tie down, and you're going to a tie down on the excavator here. So where he used the normal tie down point by the manufacturer. So then as you're looking around, you got the chain secure, you're looking at the bucket is lowered, and when it's lowered to the deck, you also have the height requirement. The maximum is 15 feet in Anchorage, and then north of the Fox Way Station is 17 feet. We also have more rules and regulations. The track is hanging greater than 4 inches over the side, so it's required flags and lights at night. So anytime it hangs, the state law requires 3 inches a flag, the federal law requires 4 inches in a flag or a light.
Always be aware of the road conditions as you drive. Road hazards can present many dangers to those hauling heavy equipment. Bumps, potholes, and dips can potentially shift and loosen your load, so always be prepared to pull over and check your load. As an operator, you are responsible for the load on your trailer, so please secure it properly and travel safely.